And now to the very heart of the GAA itself, right at the birthplace. Semple Stadium in Thurles is set to be illuminated with those old rivals in action once again, Tipperary and Cork.
Yeah, so then a night of great significance for the GAA and Thurles, but the other side of last night's game, of course, was the fact that Tipperary are facing the Cork development squad. Player revolts was another thing they didn't have in the GAA 125 years ago. Marty Morrissey was the commentator at last night's match, where everyone expected that Cork would be under serious pressure against the reigning Munster and National League champions.
Hopefully Cork can put up a good performance against Tipperary, and this is a great occasion for both teams and tonight, and just hope they put up a good show.
I'm here as regards supporting the Cork jersey. I'm not for either camp, I'm here supporting the Cork jersey.
I'm hoping that the boys can keep up their momentum that they had last week, and we're not expecting a win, but that would be a fierce bonus.
It's a sad occasion to be out here in Thurles, and it's a sad occasion for the switch on the lights and all the rest of it, and to be stuck here with a team like we have. We Dublin beat them last Sunday. That shouldn't happen to Cork.
There are 6 changes to the Tipperary team that beat Waterford last Sunday. Goalkeeper Jerry Kennedy gets a rare opportunity to show off his ability between the posts, while Borrisolee's Brendan Maher plays wing-back for the first time in his career for his county at this level. This is the Cork selection, and slowly we're getting to know the Leaside team of 2009. They face a massive test, with Joe Moran from Carrigaline making his debut at cornerback. This is Glenn O'Connor from St Finbarr's. Same club, of course, as his coach, Gerald McCarthy. Expect a lot of pride in the red and white this evening. This sent in by Taigo Gomorrah, and Cork get the opening score. Fine start by the Leasiders. Over towards Paul Kelly. Great hands again. Good block down by Conor O'Sullivan. This is James Woodlock. Turns onto his right hand side and puts that over the bar. Tipperary go in front for the very first time. Ball was sent inside towards Adrian Mannix, but again Tipperary defensively look very strong. Shane Marr, a little bit of space in front of us here. Hits it with great conviction. Burgess man, North Tipperary man as well, following in the footsteps, of course, of the great Donny Nealon, getting a fine point here in front of his home crowd. 3 points down at the break. Who would have thought it, against the league and Munster champions? Cork's confidence must be at a high. They're doing well, despite the Tipperary rather poor performance, and it looks like the 3-point interval lead has been already reduced down to 2. Once again, I have to say I'm highly impressed with Barry Johnson. Kicked away by Brendan Maher, sent back by Joe Moran, well blocked by Patrick Maher. Maher looking around for a little bit of help. Here's Seamus Hennessy, big man. Scored already in the first half. He's repeated a dose in the second half. Second point for Seamus Hennessy. Getting pretty close to the sideline. Barely kept in by Seamus Hennessy. Far as Benny Dunn, dropping it in. It's 2 against 2 up here. Well won. Chance of a goal. Brilliant. John O'Brien. He was most impressive in Walsh Park in Waterford last Sunday. Straight one-on-one possession here. He really rattled it in. John O'Brien comes out to knock it down. Patrick Maher gets the pass from Tony Scroop. Still Patrick Maher, intent on scoring a goal. Made his debut for Tipperary 6 days ago. He's been threatening this over the 2 games, and he beat this time the Cork defence and rattled it past Alan Kennedy. The referee blows the full-time whistle. It was a battle for Cork all the way. At half-time they only trailed by 3 points. The league and Munster champions were far from impressive, and certainly by their standards it was rather poor. Full-time score on a historic evening here in Semple Stadium. Tipperary 2-15, Cork 9 points.
I suppose they tried hard, you know. They're a bit off the pace, but you know, they're still trying it, which is good to play for the jersey, I suppose.
In fairness to the young fellas now, I thought they were excellent. Their backs were good. Forwards a little bit, you know, they need to sharpen up in their scores. It was a good few wide, so it's a pity because I just thought that they really gave it up to Tip today, so I thought we better do some.
We'll try and resolve the dispute down in Cork some way, and you know, from the supporters' point of view, it's frustrating. You know what I mean? You know, we need the best Cork team in playing back on the field again.
In the end, I'm disappointed. We were in a good position, I think, at half-time, and if we could sustain the effort into the second half, I thought we could actually build on it a little bit, because we missed some scores in the first half that would have kept us closer. But, you know, overall, I can't be critical of these young lads. I think you could see it's the physicality, really, in these games in winter time that are catching them. You know, they're lively enough, they're fit enough, but the ground doesn't suit them at this time of the year, I think. I think we'll be far better when the ball is moving quicker. I believe that, yeah.
We never got to the level of work that we probably set our goals on. Typically, you know, week in, week out, we like to think that we can play to a higher level than that. You know, but in fairness to Gerald and his team, you know, they put the extra man back, and, you know, they probably got us thinking a little bit, and, you know, we struggled to deal with it for long periods, especially in the first half. And, you know, probably when the game started to open up, the last 5-10 minutes, we got in and got a few goals. But in fairness, I don't think the scoreline was a fair reflection of Cork's, you know, they had dominance and good periods of dominance in the match.
We have a dressing room with 30 players in there that are mad to play for Cork, proud to play for Cork. And I think that's a very, very important point. They're playing for Cork, fulfilling the fixtures, otherwise we would be destined already for Division 2. At least we are fighting. We are fighting, and we're keeping Cork hurling to the forefront. I feel very passionate about the Cork jersey, as an awful lot of people, and I know the players on strike do too. But like, I feel so passionate about this that I feel that the lads in there deserve the opportunity. They wanted to wear that jersey, they deserve it. And the alternative is that if some players had their way, they would just walk away. And the Cork jersey should never ever be used as a tool in any dispute. And in this occasion, it was used as the first tool in that dispute. They went on strike. I think that's not right, it's not fair, especially to this group of players. The real meeting of the people that control the power in Cork hurling and football is the Cork County Board. They held a meeting last Tuesday night, and that's where the power of Cork hurling is at this time. The club delegates spoke overwhelmingly. 84, I think, to 13 was the vote there. There can be no doubt as to where clubs feel on this. If you want to solve a problem, you're going to have dialogue. These players have refused dialogue up to this time. And I just hope there is still time, with a few National League games to go. Time is moving on and running out, obviously. But I just hope common sense will eventually dawn on people, and that they will see that the red jersey is bigger than anybody, me or anybody in that dressing room or anybody on the other side that's on strike. And it's the good of Cork hurling should be considered here.
And would you be still willing to talk to the players, the panel of 2008, despite everything that has happened, the strikes, the marches?
Marty, I said it after the mandate on Tuesday night that I am still quite willing and open for dialogue to bring a conclusion to this one way or the other. I think that should certainly. I think my position as manager deserves that anyway, that there should be some dialogue with me. Why would I be stepping down when, there are so many other things they could be doing?
Well, the defeat for Cork may have been inevitable, but credit to their young players who put up a spirited display there. Michael Dignan, just listen to what Gerard McCarthy said. Can you see any resolution to this?
Well, I don't think so at this stage. I think it's gone too far. I think, a couple of months ago, I think people should have stepped back a little bit in the interest of Cork hurling. We're talking about the jersey here now. Gerald is there tonight. There wasn't much talk about the jersey. It got very personalised. People started bringing things that had nothing to do with hurling into talking about commercialism and this, that and the other. And there was personal attacks from both sides. And I'm not really at this stage, everyone knows the ins and outs and the over and backs. But there was a chance there. People needed to sit down for the good of Cork. And I'd like to know, is anyone down there thinking about the consequence of this long term? You're talking about other sports, rugby and soccer and everything else. The damage that this could do to one of the greatest hurling counties in the country is unbelievable. And they can talk all they want about how the Cork team got on last night. Tip were going through the motions at half pace, and this Cork hurling team will get hammered out the gate when it comes to the championship. They won't get better, they get worse when the other teams step up. And
Gerard was saying there that he feels when the ground's harden up and the weather gets better that they'll be a better team. Do you agree with that?
No, I don't agree with that. I think it's going to go the other way. The Tip were out there last night and they were tipping around the place. They thought they were going to win the match easy, and that's the way it was. They looked like Meath lads that trained very hard during the week. In fairness to Cork, players like Ray Ryan, like Barry Johnson played very, very well.
Yeah.
And Chris Murphy.
How many of that team would make it onto the proper Cork team, if you like?
Well, there was none of them on it last year. You know, so that's the answer. Some of these lads are playing cornerback for college teams. They're playing fullback for Cork. Chris Murphy, Ray Ryan is cornerback for his club. He's centre back for Cork. I think Barry Johnson looks like a real prospect. They put 7 men behind the ball last night. They played very well, but Tip weren't up to the pace, and Tip will be still worried. They took off both midfielders in their whole half forward line. But at the same time, I don't think that Cork team will be good enough. But whether there can be a resolution at this stage, I doubt it, because the players have set out their stall. They're not going to play for Gerard McCarthy.
I just wonder, Michael, listening to some of the comments there from the Cork fans, the players who are not playing for Cork at the moment, I wonder how they feel about it, because they say they're passionate about Cork and about the jersey. They're looking at their county being beaten and with the possibility of being humiliated later in the year.
But this is what makes it so difficult. Democracy is a democracy at county board level, and Gerard McCarthy is right. The democracy has given him a strong mandate now for the next 2 years, but the people of Cork voted on their feet last Saturday. There was 12,000.
Parnell Park basked in spring sunshine with a pitch that's held up pretty well in the recent dodgy weather. John McIntyre could hardly have asked for more for his first league game as Galway boss. Well, that was before throw-in anyway. He's still without his Portumna players, but Ger Farrer showed that sideline cut conversions are not a speciality solely of Joe Canning's. This game started at a fast and furious pace. It was level before last week's double goal scorer, 19-year-old Liam Rush, followed by Liam Ryan, showed their strength to full effect, with Ryan crashing home to put Dublin in control. That was just one demonstration of the confidence and determination these Dublin hurlers were showing. Rush and Alan McCrabb looked particularly dangerous. McCrabb wasn't far off the halfway line when he launched this one over the bar. The hosts led 110 to 7 points at half-time. A potential second-half backlash from Galway didn't look imminent when Simon Lambert and Rush once again fired over early scores to increase Dublin's lead to 8 points. They even had the ball in the net for a second time when Rush fetched well and held strong before kicking in, but the whistle had already gone for Martin Ryan's foul. McCrabb put the resulting penalty over the bar. 2 successive Farrer scores hinted at a mini Galway revival, but then they were reduced to 14 men. Debutant Damien McLaren's wild pull earning him a red card. That actually sparked a good response from Galway, but the Dubs, well, they weren't done yet. And when Colm Callinan's fumble fell to David O'Callaghan, the flu-stricken Dub, a second-half substitute, made him pay. And a bad day for Galway ended on another bad note when Mark Cairns was sent off for his apparent swipe at Niall Corcoran. 221 to 15 points is how it finished. The daily factor continues to reap reward for Dublin. Galway, well, they need to find out where it all went wrong.
We just were disappointed last week that the Cork lads showed more vigour for the fray. They tore into tackles. We didn't tear into the tackles. When we tore in a bit more today, I'm sure John McIntyre will have a go at his lads, and you'll see them in 2 weeks' time. There'll be a bounce back factor.
We can't run and hide. Galway just didn't perform today for whatever reason, and of course it's an early season setback, but we have to pick ourselves up and dust ourselves down and make sure it doesn't lead to more problems down the road.
And here indeed are the weekend's results from the Allianz.
Dublin will really be thrilled.